Hello Government A students, this is Mrs. Miller and I am making this video to go over the Unit 4 essay with you. So hopefully you guys will have an understanding what I'm looking for, and I'm sure you guys are getting sick of me going through the whole step-by-step process, but for this semester that's how it's going to be. And for those of you who are watching this for later semesters, you're welcome. Um, so for the first thing is we're going to address the topic. The topic is going to be the political parties, and it's your political parties essay topic is the subject of this unit is the American party system. And in these lessons, you've learned how political parties work in our nation. One of the primary concepts embodied in the Constitution is the idea of pluralism, or a system that encourages many voices and viewpoints that ultimately check and balance each other. The American party system is one of the main vehicles for pluralism, and people join political parties so that their voices may be heard. Consider this idea and write a detailed essay of 600 or more words describing how political parties work in our system in order to allow the people's voices to be heard. In your essay, make sure to describe America's two-party system, party platforms, and party primaries and/or conventions. Throughout your essay, make sure to explain how parties promote democracy and plurality. So political parties essay topic continued. So for additional detail, one of the primary concepts embodied in the Constitution is the idea of pluralism, or a system that encourages many voices and viewpoints that ultimately check and balance each other. So that's one idea you're going to want to focus on. And another is make sure you describe America's two-party system, party platforms and party primaries, and or conventions. And then throughout your essay, make sure you're discussing the idea of democracy and plurality. And in your assignment, you have these links here, which will help you with all of that. So you're going to want to make sure you look at these. And then this is what I'm doing right now, making this video. So the first step is to turn the topic into a question. The American party system, again, is one of the main vehicles for pluralism, and people join political parties so their voices may be heard. Consider this idea and write a detailed essay of 600 or more words describing how political parties work in our system to allow people's voices to be heard. So we're going to take that and we're going to turn it into a question. And that question is going to be, how do political parties work in our system in order to allow the people's voices to be heard? So the second step is going to be your organization, and this is your essay map. And you're going to be thinking about things like, how do political parties work in our system? Again, that question we just made. How do political parties work in our system to allow the people's voices to be heard? Since we know that this is a 5-paragraph essay, you're going to want to rephrase this question to, what are 3 ways political parties work in our system to allow people's voices to be heard? And your answers to those are going to be paragraphs 1, 2, and 3, and body paragraphs rather, 1, 2, and 3. So you have 1 way, 2 ways, 3 ways. And then you have your introduction, of course, and your conclusion. So to continue your second step of organization, this is still that essay map. We're going to put in the first way, the second way, the third way. So remember in the deeper detail, we were talking about this other part of America's two-party system, discuss party platforms, primaries, and or conventions. So you're going to be looking at body paragraph 1 is the two-party system. Body paragraph 2 is the party platforms, how they do that, etc. Body paragraph 3 is party primaries and conventions. So body paragraph 1 is the two-party system. What you're going to be answering in this paragraph is, how does America's two-party system allow the people's voices to be heard? And that's going to be your topic of this paragraph. In this, some things you might want to look at are, why do we have two parties? How does the two-party system work? What happens to the party in power if it does poorly at governing? Body paragraph 2, when the creation of party platforms. How does a party's political platform allow the people's voices to be heard? And in that, you're going to want to consider a few things like, what is a political platform? How are political platforms made? What are the reasons that parties use political platforms? And this is a nice image that helps show political platform changes and just things that have kind of happened throughout the country's history. So, some things that the platform changes that were pretty dramatic for Republicans, like the protective tariff, which is here, and support for ratification of the Equal Rights Amendment, and the education policy that changed in 96 and in 2004 with No Child Left Behind. And then some platform things that have changed with Democrats. So wanting to go from single term to reelection. And then nuclear power, supporting of the nuclear power program or opposition to the program. And then we have, oh, what do I read these earlier and my brain just blanked because they're blurry on the screen now. So traditional marriage in 2004 going to marriage equality and allowing same-sex marriage in 2012. So you can see how there are the changes back and forth. So body paragraph 3, oh, except I still have main paragraph here. Main point, I think is what I meant here, but I usually use body paragraph. So body paragraph 3, primaries, primary elections and conventions. So how do primary elections and party conventions allow the people's voices to be heard? What are party elections, primary elections and what are primary elections and party conventions? Why do they do these? What's the importance of them? So back to your essay map, you have the main question here that we're answering, and then we've gone through a question for each paragraph that you can answer, and it's the party system, party platforms, and primaries and conventions. And for your introductions and conclusions, you're going to be looking at, sorry, my brain just like went bleh. For your introduction, you want to introduce the topics, which you're going to talk about political party system in America. You must provide the thesis or answer the question, answer this topic question, how do political parties work in our system to allow the people's voices to be heard? Now remember, your introduction, the last sentence of your introduction is always your thesis statement, and that is that answer to that question. Your conclusion, the first sentence of your conclusion is the restatement of that thesis statement, again, which is the answer to that question. And in your conclusion, you're reminding readers of what you've discussed. You give a brief highlight kind of each paragraph, but very short. And then your body paragraph. So your body paragraph in detail, you want to be sure that you go over the things we discussed or I discussed in the each specific paragraph things above. But you also want to be sure that you think about making sure you have enough detail. If you don't have 6 or 8 sentences in that range, you need to have at least that much to have the detail that's going to be required to really discuss these things. So each body paragraph must do 2 things. You must describe the specific topic in detail, and you must explain how the people's voices are heard through this manner. So if you don't do those things, you are not answering the question properly and you're not writing your essay properly. So hopefully that gives you guys a better understanding of what I'm looking for. If you have questions, remember to let me know. I'm here to help. And after you watch this and you're ready to start working on your essay, just give me a call and we'll talk about it quick. You can tell me a couple things of what you're working on and you'll be good to go. So have a great day and good luck with your paper. I look forward to reading it.